I'm afraid my heart does not bleed for these buy-to-let landlords at all. The whole reason why property has gone bananas in this country, and my daughter can't afford to buy a property herself, is that these buy-to-let landlords have bought up all the properties, creating an overheated market. They're using property as a business, not somewhere to live. So what they've got to accept when times aren't good is that their business might lose money. Now, excuse me, if those properties go back onto the market, which I hope they all do, prices will drop, and then people like my daughter and my son will be able to afford a property instead of having to pay outrageous rents.
You say the whole reason that the property market is in the state it is because of buy-to-let. Is that not an exaggeration?
It is an exaggeration, yeah. There aren't enough houses built either, and there isn't enough social housing.
This Birmingham tenant is blind, disabled and bed-bound. Her daughter is an NHS worker, and this is how they've been forced to live for years. She complained to the MP in Birmingham Council, but has been ignored. How horrific is this?
I'm just in the bathroom now.
Working hour shifts, times a week in a hospital during her pandemic whilst having to live in this and look after mum.
On today's episode of My Landlord Will Actually Be the Death of Me, he's just put this new electric meter in. So instead of putting my pound coins in, because apparently I was living in the 1300s, I've got this prepaid card. Fine. Got home from work, saw it had been changed, and I was like, well, I don't know how to use this, so I'll Google it. Oh wait, but I can't Google it because I have no electricity because he's changed the electric meter, and my Wi-Fi's not working, which also means that everything in the fridge and the freezer started defrosting. So I went downstairs to say to him, like, how do I use this? And he goes, oh, well, I'll probably need to give you a card. Like, why was there not a card left on the side for me? I don't know. And then I said to him, I was like, right, thanks for that. He was like, oh, by the way, you also owe us 30 quid. For the electric that you've used. I was like, I've been putting my pound coins in. No, you owe us another £30. Whatever, another story. And I was like, right, well, where do I top it up? He was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, well, I kind of need to know when to do it, like, and how to do it, because everything in my freezer's defrosting right now. And he was like, oh, well, if you ring that number on there, then they'll be able to tell you. I was like, I bet I should pay to ring this number. Whatever. Rang the number, no one picked up, and they were busy. And I was like, right, I don't know anything about this. So then I Googled it, and then it was like I had to go downstairs outside to Google it because obviously no Wi-Fi in my flat. And then it was like, oh, well, you can go top it up at the co-op. So I went to the co-op, and the woman was like, oh, it doesn't seem to be working. So like, they do it. I put my cards in and everything, tried to pay, and it was like, yeah, it's not working. And then I had to like ring the people, and they were like, oh, it's actually not been registered yet. I was like, oh, of course it's not been registered yet. So I had to go back to the landlord and be like, this hasn't even been registered. He's like, oh yeah, I know. And I was like, what do you mean you know? I was like, everything in my freezer is defrosting right now. Sort this shit out.
So a couple of weeks ago, our landlord told us that he wants to increase the rent by £200 for the entire property. Our tenancy is coming up for renewal, which is why this has been brought up now, and many people are facing the similar situation with a hike in rent increase because of all the stuff that's going on with inflation and the property market at the moment. However, this has particularly infuriated me and my flatmates because our landlord is nothing short of a grade A CUNT. When I saw the rent increase email, I honestly just saw red because it just proves that landlords can really do whatever the fuck they want, because in our property since October last year, we've had a leak coming from the ceiling, as in an active leak. It's constantly dripping, which has now caused black mold. So this is the black mold in question. I think it's black mold. All I know is that it's mold and it's black, ergo black mold. We have mold growing in other areas of the house. In several areas of the house, the paint is peeling because the walls are damp internally, so there's some sort of leak going on in the rest of the structure of the house. The electrics, where the leak is obviously completely fucked. Like, the lights won't turn on because there's literal water leaking into the light bulbs constantly. Our living room is also built on a manhole, which in 2021 caused it exploded basically and flooded the entire downstairs. The whole downstairs had to get redone, and even with the downstairs getting redone, the paint is still peeling, and they haven't sealed that manhole properly, meaning that often we get a waft of sewage smell coming into this living room. There are a bunch of other more minor issues, but the audacity of like increasing the rent without taking any action to actually improve any of these issues it's just disgusting.
So there's something that UK landlords do that is very, very wrong and annoying. Now, when you move into the apartment and you're about to leave, they find a way to not give you a deposit. They try so hard to make up a reason why you should forfeit your deposit, and that's like so wrong and so low. In my last apartment, after I like moved out, it was time for me to get my deposit, £550 back. So the landlord said that the mattress had a stain on it. And I told him it was there when I moved into the apartment. The stain was there. And he said, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Okay, cool. I told him, I'm going to come here tomorrow and talk to you in your face about it. I can't like talk to you on the phone because that's like a lot of money. Am I going to leave my money because of like you claim that there was a stain on the mattress? So when I went there, and he even sent me pictures and videos of the mattress looking shiny and brand new. However, it was not like that when I moved in. So when I went the next day to his apartment, to his house, I told him that was how it was. So he now said, oh yeah, my wife just confirmed that it was really how it was. He didn't even apologize for his claim. He didn't even apologize and say, oh, I'm sorry. Then he still claimed again and say, oh, the duvet has some stains and all. So he's still saying that, just making things up.
How bad the damp and mould in this property is. I'm currently in a bedroom and every single wall is covered in different forms of mould. I was going to say black mould, but you've got pink over there, you've got green, you've got black. And they've been like this for the last 5 years. Since moving into this property, they've complained and complained and complained to the point where contractors have been sent in, but the job's been so bad that they haven't actually dealt with it. Or in the past, they've tried painting over it or sticking bits of wood on top of it to mask the issue. And as a result, what we've seen now is the whole room is covered in mould and no one can sleep in here because of how bad it is.
There will come a point where you and I won't be very amicable to you. The likes of this, okay? You know what I mean?
This is the moment a tenant is confronted in a row over rent for his Edinburgh flat. Jason Chen decided to withhold some of his rent after his flat went 28 days without hot water. Jason recorded the video in secret and believes the man is flat owner and businessman Mark Fortune.
Don't threaten. You're saying fix the electric and you'll pay. You'll pay or I will throw all your stuff in the street.
It's not just me, you know. All the people here.
I'll put everyone out. I couldn't care less.
The police are investigating the incident, but Mr. Fortune says it's not him in the video. He told BBC News he was in a dental surgery in France at the time.
If it's not paid, everything will be turned off in the flat tonight. There'll be no electric, there'll be no heating, there'll be no gas.
Mr Fortune has faced a number of complaints in recent years about the flats that he owns and the way people living in them are treated.
If you want an easy life, make sure you're paid by the time I come back. Because there will come a point where you and I won't be very amicable to you. You can Google me.
I would like to move because I've been living in a flat with black mould.
Oh.
My new best friend.
It sounds like a kind of rock band, black mould, but it's a reality.
It's living in my lungs. It's living rent free. It's the only thing in London living rent free.
In your lungs. I mean, it's not funny because it's quite terrifying. I mean,
yeah.
You read in the paper about, young kids dying from...
I mean, do you know what? I've noticed fatigue, things like that.
If you've been following along for a while, you might know that I've got like an ongoing saga with my landlord, and as of today, we're officially going to fucking war. Also, I know I look like a smurf, I've just washed my hair. To cut a long story short, the issue never got fixed and the mould got progressively worse and the damp got worse and it spread to all areas of my house. My furniture is ruined. I'm going to probably have to take most of it to the tip. And I reported it to the council. So if you're in a similar situation and you're having issues with damp, mould, landlord not fixing it, literally go to the council, ask to speak to environmental health, and they will put you through to the people that can help. I'm currently in the second week of the 2-week period of which my landlord has to respond to them, and if he doesn't, they can step in.
Welcome to my bathroom, or what I call Mouldland. This is what you get for £2,000 a month in London, and a landlord refuses to make any fixings so the area is livable. This is the mould under the toilet. We're going to go to the VIP area here in the garden where our fence is missing, leak from the roof, all through the walls.
So I'm making this video because I love animals, and I keep seeing on the sort of animal rescue sites and sort of cat protection sites and stuff like that. Obviously, with what's going on at the moment, people are having to leave homes, people are having to move into rented accommodation. And they're saying that they need to rehome their animals, they rehome their cats and dogs, because the landlord has said no pets. You don't need to rehome your cats. You don't need to rehome your dogs, right? They all say no pets. They all say no pets on all of it. They some of them, if they're not professional landlords, if they've kind of just got one property, they use like a template tenancy agreement, which has just got that there, and they see it and they're like, oh, well, I better put that on there. Right, this is what a landlord cares about. They want you to pay your rent on time, right, and they want you to keep the property in a decent condition. When you give that property back to the landlord, they want that property to look as close to how they gave it to you as possible, right? They don't need to know if you take your pets there. You don't mention pets. You don't even tell them you've got animals. Just take them. How are they going to know? How are they going to know? Inspect? You don't have to let them inspect. By law, you do not have to let anybody into that property to inspect your property. By law.